Hello, fellow travelers. Welcome again to Travels with Monkey Boy. Today I'm going to take you to one of my favorite places in the world. In fact, many people ask me what my favorite country in the world is, and I gotta say Chile. Santiago might be the most beautiful capital in the world, nestled in amongst the Andean mountains. It's just a beautiful, modern, rich city. But two of my favorite places in the world are in Chile, or at least owned by Chile. Historically, I've always said Easter Island is my favorite place in the world, and Easter Island is owned by Chile. More on Easter Island in later podcasts. But today I'm going to take you to a place called Patagonia. Patagonia is more than just a winter jacket brand. It is a famous part of the world. And you can see a little bit of it behind me. You can see the Andean mountains, and on the bottom there is an alpaca, sort of a llama. So to get you there, let me share my screen with you. Okay, and as always, I'm going to start from my home in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Here we are in my little woods in the middle of the city, in the middle of nowhere. And we're taking off in our rocket ship, blasting up. Here's Wisconsin. Here comes the US. And now we're going to head down through South America. And Chile is, of course, this long, skinny country. Up in the north, there's a beautiful desert. And we are taking you today down to Patagonia. And there's two places, Torres del Paine National Park and Punta Arias. So I went here with some customers and the former president of the company, uh, and we went on a weekend to Park Nacional Torres del Paine. Okay, to give you an idea of this area, let me get you to my slideshow. Okay, um, Patagonia is one of the few places on the planet where you can go see penguins. I love penguins. Penguins are just the silliest bird, the silliest creature. You can see them. I've seen them in South Africa. I've seen them in Tasmania. But honestly, there's not many countries that you can see penguins, but Chile is one of them. Here they go. There's a big beach that you can go watch all the penguins. Such a silly bird. So beautiful. Nature is beautiful. Not only those kind of birds, but there are many colorful birds in Torre del Paine. Look at that guy. So beautiful. And this is, try to guess with me, this is the South American ostrich. In Australia, they call it an emu, and here it is called a rhea. So you see these ostrich-like birds running around. And you also have the beautiful alpacas, which are a kind of llama. So pretty. And look at with the beautiful high white cap mountains in the back. Packs of these animals every place you go. Just stark, picturesque beauty with the granite mountain cliffs, the glacier-fed waters, waterfalls every place you go, and the beautiful wildflowers every place. There's the river going. When you come up here at all times, it is gale force winds, winds that are going, I don't know, 70, 80 kilometers an hour, 40 or 50 miles an hour, just whipping you. You can barely move against the strong winds that whip off the Andean mountains. Um, When you get down to the water, you see glaciers. If you guys have never seen a glacier, go find a glacier. The color of blue, it's just impossible to explain. You see it almost no place else in the world. And it's just cold and stark and beautiful, just all the sort of things of nature that I love. Look at that blue color. And again, the trees are filled with beautiful flowers. And there's the old man. Again, the glacier. It was also home to the giant sloth. So there's caves with giant sloths. These are the customers. And down here, I took a terrible picture of a swan, but you see a lot of the beautiful black-necked swans in the area. And then to finish my tale, I want to talk to you about the city of Punta Arenas. Um, it is a very small city. I don't know, 10,000 people, maybe not that many. It is famous for Magellan. The Straits of Magellan go through Punta Arenas, and we will talk about that in a minute. Um, just a beautiful natural waterway, natural harbor from the harsh weather from the Antarctic. So anyway, the reason I'm talking about this story is we came upon this mausoleum. This somebody was buried here, and this was as ornate a mausoleum as I've ever seen. Just beautiful statues all over it, the richest white marble, the beautiful trees all around it. And I asked the guide, so who's this? Who's buried here? And he looked at me and he just shrugged, I don't know. And I asked the four customers that were there, the Chileans that were there with me, who built this beautiful mausoleum? Who's buried? This guy must be really important. And they all shrugged, we don't know. And so I took a picture of it and I went and did some research because I needed to find out who this guy is, because that's just who I am. So again, I'm going to take you to our map. And here is Punta Arenas. Okay. To understand the importance of Punta Arenas, we've got to go way over to here to a city called Ningbo. Ningbo is a natural harbor in China. And see, for about 150 years, every boat that went from China to the east coast of the United States had to travel this way, and they had to go around South America. Now, if you remember your history books, this is Cape Horn, and these are some of the most violent waterways in the world. This is the whole Pacific and the squeezed between two continents. Here's Antarctica and here's South America. And the whole Pacific winds would just whip through this area, creating just terrible rough seas and terrible winds. It was a treacherous place to go, but it was the fastest way to get to the east coast of the US and also to many places in Europe. So many ships went here laden with treasures from China. So one of the first travelers through the area was Ferdinand Magellan. Magellan, famously the first person to circumnavigate the world. So what Magellan did is he discovered the Straits of Magellan. And this is a natural waterway. So he came down here with his ship, and you could sail through this area and up around this point, stop in Punta Arenas, and come through and through the other side. You're over here by Argentina, and you're past the treacherous Cape Horn. So why is Punta Arenas? Who is this rich guy? So the story of this rich guy is that because every ship had to sail through this area. This was the last spot. And again, there's not a lot of life along this area. So these great sailing ships would come to Punta Areas, and they would have to stop and fill up their boats for the journey on. And the man that was in the mausoleum, in the tomb, was the mayor of this city and one of the largest business owners in the area. So every ship that came by and had to refuel, resupply, uh, had to stop here. They had to pay tolls and whatever. And so this was one of the richest areas in the world because thousands of ships coming through and each one of them spending lots of money. And this man became very, very famous and very rich and left behind a great mausoleum when he died in 1912. Okay. And then what happened in 1913? You history fans are way ahead of me on this. Head up here. And while this man was getting rich, Teddy Roosevelt in the US was digging the Panama Canal. And suddenly, as of 1913, when it opened, no one had to sail down here anymore. They could just squeeze right through the Panama Canal and cut weeks of time off their trip and treasure off the area. So in 150 years, wasn't even 100, it was 100 years, this man went from being one of the richest, most important people in the world to somebody that even the locals didn't know who he was. And I think that's the point that I want to leave you with today. So many of you are racing to find fame and find fortune in life, and it's all so fleeting. The reality is, almost everybody you know in 50 years, 75 years is going to be dead. And in 100 years, no one will remember your name. Even the rich guys, even the guy with the famous mausoleum and the great fortune, we're just here for a brief period of time. So what's important in life is to fill your soul with the glory of travel, the glory of adventure, fill it with love. Remember to live in the moment and don't worry about the future. Live in the time and fill yourself up and have the glory of life. And let have lots of children, have a big family, have a nice life, and that's what lives on beyond you. And um, I think that's all I have to say for you today. So thank you again for tuning in, and remember to go to Patagonia. And I'll talk to you next time.